Fire me and I'll make more noise than 2 skeletons making love in a tin coffin, brother.
But first, a message from our sponsor.
Okay, you ready, guys?
Yeah!
James will attack from the front and we'll attack from the side. You ready, James? Okay, go!
Wow, James, if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the dungeon!
You upset me greatly, Kieran.
Alright, forget this. Let's play Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is a brand new collection RPG game with an amazing storyline, awesome 3D graphics, and giant boss fights. And it's free.
I love the details on their selection of champions.
There's no better time to join than now. The game is growing super fast and there's a huge update on the way that's going to make it even more awesome to play. Sign up with the link in the description to get 50,000 silver and a free epic champion as part of the new player program to start your journey.
Oh right, we forgot about the dragon.
Okay, this movie, R.O.T.O.R, I'd never heard of it before. And I think up till now I was a happier man before this.
Well, let me tell you, if I could go back in time and tell 10-year ago Kieran that I'd be sitting with James talking about R.O.T.O.R, I'd probably shit my pants.
Oh god, R.O.T.O.R is...
So, the poster of this movie, the first thing you see of any movie is the poster.
Yeah.
The poster is awesome.
Yeah, it is really cool.
Yeah, it looks like Mad Max.
It did have a Mad Max vibe, yeah.
Yeah, this robot.
But what you got to keep in mind, a lot of these movies in the 80s especially had these really awesome posters and the VHS art, because back then it was all about selling the movie. It always is, but the marketing strategy back then, with video stores being, you know, so prominent, the idea was that you'd walk into the video store and you'd see one of these on the shelves. You'd be like, wow, that looks really awesome. And then you'd go home and you'd watch it and it's like, well, it's too late now, you're screwed. So,
Yeah.
So this movie, it's definitely a culprit of that. Really awesome artwork and really shitty movie.
It's basically if Robocop was the Terminator.
Yeah, it's
pretty
like,
much.
But that's giving it too much credit.
Yeah, it's like if you took Robocop and the Terminator, and cut the budget by, you know,
a lot.
About you know, about 4/5 of the budget just cut out.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, you have, instead of James Cameron, you have like some dude down the road that you might know write this movie.
Now, budget is only like one issue, because obviously you can't, you know, fault the movie too much on the budget. Like if they didn't have the money, they didn't have it. But what pisses me off is that they try to be like the Terminator. It's just like, okay, like, this is going to... They even mentioned Terminator in it. Like,
like, don't name drop the movie that you're making fun of. Or that you're trying to rip off.
Says it.
After this was over, I actually had to watch Terminator again. I was like, you know what? I need to wash my thoughts clean of this.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I think R.O.T.O.R, as you probably might have guessed, is one of my favorite films of all time.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Christmas tradition with me and my sister. And we watch it every Christmas. I don't know why. We one time what happened was we got locked out of my house. I left my key at home.
Have a Pepsi.
Because, you know, my mom worked, so I would go to school and come back, and she wouldn't get home until like 6, so we couldn't get into the house. We both forgot our key. So we go to my friend's house down the road, and we're flipping through channels, and I see R.O.T.O.R, and I'm like, yo, put that on. Like, what is that? That sounds so weird. And it just says, you know, Terminator meets Robocop, blah, blah, blah. And it was on, like, Cinemax or something like that, some cable TV channel. We watched it, we couldn't stop laughing like the entire movie, and then we made sure like the next time it was on, we taped it. So we had like a taped copy that was just being circulated around all of our friends. I hope it's
better than the one I saw. Because, okay, this movie is not streaming anywhere, so I had to watch it on YouTube, And I looked at 2 different versions to see if any looked better, and I didn't find anything. The one that I had to watch, the best one that I could come up with, it looked like garbage. Like, it looked like back when YouTube quality was a term. Like, back when you
had QB looking.
It was so bad, and I had to. So it was like a crappy movie, and on top of that, watching it with crappy YouTube. And then Justin tells me that it's like HD, like remastered somewhere on YouTube.
The copy Justin has is better than I've ever seen it in my life. It looks like Blu-ray quality when I watched it. I couldn't believe it.
I watched this the best way you can. I mean, I've seen this movie before. But I watched the
drunk.
No, I watched the Riff Tracks version of it.
Oh, that would help. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. It makes the movie go by a lot faster.
Yeah, I have to watch the Riff Tracks because I've literally. I'm just going to say too. I didn't watch this before the review, but it's because I've seen this movie so many times. Before we were going to shoot this, I was showing Justin like every part that I knew, and I knew like where it is in the movie. There's some really hilarious scenes in this entire movie. There's some great quotes.
So should we go?
There are.
There are some good. Should we go through the story?
So first, I want to get one thing out of the way real quick. Is that so the movie's called R.O.T.O.R. If you haven't heard of it, it's an acronym.
It's do you know what I know what the acronym is?
There's two. There's two.
It's Robotic Officer Tactical Operations Research.
But then later in the movie, they show it on a screen, and the last word is something else. It's kind of like The Brain That Wouldn't Die also has a title in it called The Head That Wouldn't Die. Like, they fucked up the title.
But, you know, when I heard it, because first I heard it spoken before I saw that it was an acronym.
Yeah.
I think it was one of you guys said, oh, yeah, we're going to do a R.O.T.O.R. We just did Roadhouse. I thought that you said R.O.T.O.R. And that it was a sequel to Roadhouse. And I thought that this was going to be like now Patrick Swayze goes on tour to like different bars as this like
that would have been way better than the actual sequel to Roadhouse.
The thing is, too, when I first saw I saw this movie probably in like 2002, and going on the internet back then and trying to find this movie. You type R.O.T.O.R. in and you get rotors. Like
that's what I got too.
You don't get any things about it. So finally, this movie had a crazy like cult following. It had a website called the Church of R.O.T.O.R. And the thing about the movie is there's 2 versions of the movie. There's the one that was released to the in VHS, and then there's the TV version that has 2 extra scenes that add nothing to the movie, but they're hilarious. They are like the funniest scenes. So I guess a quick rundown of the story. Barrett Coldiron. Who is dubbed even though he's speaking English, but he speaks really weird.
Is this an Italian film?
It is, but they were speaking English.
No,
I think it is.
I mean, like, Italian films dubbed everyone no matter what.
Oh, that's true.
Well, no, because the guy who made it is named Cullen Blaine.
Oh, maybe it wasn't an Italian film.
I think they were Italian actors.
I'm going to walk back over to my car. I'm going to call your license into the cops. But if you can give me change for $1, that's going to give you about 30 extra seconds before I call you in. Comprende, bro?
Movies like The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Like if it was like an international film, like basically like actors from all different parts of the world, they would just speak their own languages, and then afterwards they would have, you know, either the same actor come in and like speak it in like whatever language for that. So like, you know, Clint Eastwood would do, you know, his own voice, and he would just speak English. And then, but they would translate it. They would just dub it for every country it showed in. This movie, though, is just really bad ADR.
Yeah, it's really bad.
There's a part in it. Oh well, okay.
So let's go through the story. So it's like
he's a cowboy scientist.
He's a cowboy scientist cop.
Who he gets arrested in the beginning.
Yeah, he gets arrested in the beginning, and he goes into the place. He tells his story about how he created this robot officer named R.O.T.O.R. R.O.T.O.R. is supposed to be about 10 years down the line. He's not supposed to be out yet. But let's just say he escapes. And he has no way of telling what crimes have priority. So he ends up, a guy is speeding, and he murders the speeding guy and then chases down his wife.
Well, he could have been murdering him for bribing him $20.
That's true. I'll bet you $20. You're gonna. I love how the one part too. So R.O.T.O.R. in that scene, R.O.T.O.R. is like 10 feet away.
Well, he only loses. What's the point of betting that he's going to give you a ticket? You're going to get the fee for the ticket, and now and on top of that, you're giving the officer $20.
so R.O.T.O.R. is like 15 feet away from him. The guy pulls out the $20. R.O.T.O.R. shoots the guy in the head through the $20. And then all of a sudden the guy falls, and he's close enough to ROTOR that he can grab
his name
tag,
yeah.
which says ROTOR on it.
Real quick, back to Cold Iron. So he's telling this story, and he feels the need to start the story with his morning routine.
Yeah.
Okay, here's his morning routine. I wrote it down, guys. His morning routine is to make some coffee and grab a carrot.
Wait, can we talk about that first?
Yeah.
Okay, the best part, the one part in this whole movie that made the entire thing worth it. There's a shot where he's going through his morning routine. He's filling his cup with coffee, and there's this country music playing.
Oh yeah,
and there's this
for a very long time.
Yeah, there is a shot where you see him walk from the house all the way across the yard.
It's a good like 100 feet he has to walk to this horse,
and you see it completely in real time.
Yeah, no cuts.
It does cut once, only when he gets to the horse, but he's already.
But they show the whole walk.
Yeah,
it's like
the whole walk, and he walks up with this cup of coffee, and you don't know what it's building up to, but when it happens, oh my God, is it worth it? He gives the coffee to his horse.
Yeah. And then he eats the carrot. And then he gives it a look like, oh boy, like he tricked himself.
And also, the thing that makes this funnier is that this is all happening in a flashback.
Yeah.
He's telling the police officers about this story.
Right away, the cops would have stopped the story and be like, okay, are you sure you don't want a lawyer? Please get a lawyer before you tell us any more things.
The part that I love about it is when he starts telling the cops the story, he sets the scene, and he's like, the pale morning was coming over.
Like a fucking poet.
A warm, buttery sunrise rose over the mountains. And, like, me and my friend used to always just say that, like, warm, buttery sunrise, warm, buttery dew.
And then he's telling stories to scenes that he's not even in.
That he wasn't even there for. Okay. So after again, this is part of his routine. Oh. Keep in mind, the sun is up and shining, and it looks like it's midday.
Yeah.
After he feeds the horse, he's gotta ride around on the horse and practice his lassoing. Oh, yes, that does come back in the movie.
So they actually, that's another scene that gets cut out of the movie, is when he's like, so he blows tree stumps off of his property.
Oh, that was next on his routine.
We just talked about a scene where a guy's feeding his horse coffee. And then these are the scenes that got cut from it.
So there's one scene where he blows a stump up, right?
Yes.
And he uses it, and he's like, I'm using this new primer cord. It's used nitro. So he throws the primer cord. It blows up the stump, but it does like a real shitty job at it. In the original version of the movie, he makes a remark about it, like he goes, I should have just stuck to straight nitro.
Oh,
but in the release version, they don't. So it just looks like he completely failed at blowing the stump up, and they leave it in the movie. Yeah.
So he's practicing lassoing, he blows up his tree stump, then he gets in his car. On the way to work, the sun apparently sets.
Yeah, it's like,
by the time he gets to work, the sun's back up, and this is all before 9 a.m. This is apparently what he does every morning.
The thing is, though, this whole movie, they're in a time rift. In the very beginning of the movie, where it's like the helicopter shot coming in, it starts off as sunrise
with all the traffic.
Yeah, all the traffic.
Yeah,
and it's like they say like, oh wow, traffic's backed up all over I-95, but they show like a shot of it. Traffic is moving.
Traffic's just flowing normal
in Dallas. So it starts off. The helicopter coming in, it's sunrise. Then all of a sudden it's a shot of like, noon, noonish. Then it cuts to these people driving down the road. It's sunrise again.
Yeah.
Then it's noon. Then it's mid-afternoon. Then it's noon again. Then they park the car and it's sundown, like the sun is going down. They get out, they meet Barrett Cold Iron, sun is like almost down. Then within a matter of seconds they turn, it's pitch black outside. It's just dark.
It's like some Ed Wood.
Yeah, it is an Ed Wood thing.
It's supposed to all be taking place, this whole beginning part, within the course of maybe 10 minutes, or not even, like 5 minutes maybe, but it goes through an entire day cycle. Yeah, so ROTOR gets out. And chases this woman down. So Barrett Cold Iron and his friend Dr. Steel, who's a
Cold
tough
Iron and Steel,
a tough, muscular, skunk mullet wearing lady.
She's got like
who should have been,
which
should have been in the movie
a bunch
more.
of times.
That girl kicked ass.
Though. Like
Yeah.
there's parts where she's in the car and it's like you can see some white. Then all of a sudden it's bright white. Then it goes to another scene. She has like it's like not all there again.
But before she shows up, there's a lot that happens beforehand.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot. Yeah.
So ROTOR is what would you say 25 years away from being
ROTOR
released?
supposedly okay. So in the so he goes into work. He's showing a bunch of investors ROTOR, which is this awfully puppeted stop motion skeleton thing that's just going like this pretty much.
That was another complaint I had, was that this stop motion robot skeleton you only see in this one scene. And I thought, like, okay, that at least is going to make the movie funny.
When they fight
it. Never. No, because then that's it. That's the only time
they probably couldn't afford to do more with it.
They couldn't afford to do this.
But it looks like shit. It looks
does
like,
look like shit.
But that would have made it funnier.
I think we were saying before, it looks like the robots from Star Crash that they fight. They're horrible stop motion there. This movie could have benefited from one of those fucking things.
It looks like they bought like those little toy magnifying glasses, put it all over it.
Oh yeah.
Put some plastic tubing, bought a little skeleton.
And there's
head.
no sound effects either.
Yeah, it's just going like, and he's like talking, and it's like he can do anything from aerobics to Tai Chi. And it's like,
what he's like
why?
describing is not what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Because
and also, where is it happening? Because they're talking about it, and it just cuts to it in like a dark background.
Yeah, it's not like it's being projected. It's just could it be in the room?
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
My favorite part of it is the one guy who's like real dramatic about it. Like he's the guy who has the real chubby cheeks, and he's just like,
well, who are we who create such a thing?
Heroes and villains? Like he gives this line like crazy.
But before we meet ROTOR, there's also another robot cop.
Yeah,
there's
Willard.
a tiny robot cop that looks like the robot from Rocky, just tinier.
Yeah.
And they put a little police officer hat on him.
And that's the one that says the Terminator line.
Yeah. My favorite thing about him is he has a revolver, but his arm can't bend. And even if he could pick up the gun, he has no fingers to pull the trigger.
He's pretty much just like, and he's like a bunch of blinking lights.
And he's such a downer. He's miserable the whole movie. He quits his job at one point. Like,
Well, what if you don't deliver?
Then your project, Chief.
You gonna finish those fries?
Robot number 3 is the little Rob the Robot looking.
That's on the guy's desk.
That's for no reason. I don't even know why. That's
And
the scene too where he's reaming out Cold Iron, and Cold Iron says that whole thing where he's like you do this, and I'm gonna make more noise than two skeletons making love in a tin coffin, brother.
Yeah, and I love when so Cold Iron is being forced to release ROTOR by the politician who's funding him.
Yeah,
they
want him to get it out faster because he says like we could have maybe a demo in 6 months.
Yeah,
and they're like get it out this month or whatever.
My favorite part of that scene is the guy playing the politician. He is overacting so hard. He's staring in the camera. He's so animated. He's screaming, and then it cuts to the guy playing Cold Iron, who's just completely static, like, going blah blah
and
blah.
He barely
blah.
moves his mouth.
They're on two different levels, and they never reach.
The thing is, I feel like they filmed that guy's scenes later on, and they just were like, just yell, and it's a phone scene, so we'll just cut back and forth.
That's about as far as you're gonna stick it, Earl. You may be so crooked you got to screw your head on, but you're not pulling my strings.
No, Cold Iron. I'm pulling your plug. You're off the project as of right now.
And the thing is, ROTOR takes a long time to actually get started. ROTOR is unleashed by a character named Shoe Boogie, who is hitting on one of the girl the girl scientist who wants nothing to do with him, and he starts talking, which another little forced in foreshadowing the blood eagle that he mentions.
Oh yeah,
because he's Native American, so he's like. He tells her this story of a blood eagle, where it's like you tie guys' arms and legs to horses and make them run.
Which none of the characters who end up doing that to ROTOR are present for that.
Well, it comes up later. It's no way that they could have known about it too. So it's
with a fiery explosion.
Yeah, he blows up for no. Okay. I know we're kind of randos, but here. ROTOR,
not to mention, like, he gets his chest
gets
apparently
torn open
in close-up
and
only.
green stuff comes out.
And then you see him from the master shot again, and there's nothing. Like, his chest is just perfectly, covered in, like, black leather and everything. There's nothing. there's nothing open.
Well, there's also too where she's fighting him at the end.
Oh, it's in the background.
Yeah,
they're fighting,
they're fighting in the background while all this stuff's going on. But she falls into the water. She's soaking wet. Then the next shot, she's completely dry. Then the next shot, she's wet again. Like it's this movie's editing is all over the damn place.
ROTOR is the worst robot I've ever seen.
Yeah,
he can't walk around plastic chairs.
He's also like
he's got to walk through the plastic chairs.
He's like a middle-aged man with a mustache, and like that's it. And like that's ROTOR.
He mostly walks, but sometimes he can run.
Yeah. He walks through the whole line of chairs. Yeah. He's like coming first, and he just walks through the whole line of chairs.
What did you think about the martial arts in this film when he had to fight those guys in the diner?
Oh, I love that. The fat karate guy who's like...
Everyone knows karate in this movie, by the way.
He's like, again, a middle-aged, chubby karate guy.
Yeah. And I like that he takes his shirt off, but you've seen people take their shirt off where, okay, they'll either rip the shirt, they'll take it off, whatever. He kind of like
just
flaps
goes like,
it down.
To the point where I'm pretty sure that guy, the character in this movie, he probably gets into a lot of fights, and this will probably Velcro. He's like, oh, here we go again. Just knocks it down. And then it's the slowest fight. Like, you think a Terminator where like the actual fights.
You want to talk about slow karate? The woman who gets kidnapped in the robbery scene, which the robbery scene is my favorite part of the whole movie.
Is that the one where the guy clearly has a painted on goatee? Oh my god, it was so distracting.
I would have never been able to tell if you watch
the HD, it's legit painted.
That entire scene makes me laugh the hardest because when it's Cold Iron going out to go get something for the steaks that him and his wife are making. He goes out to this convenience store. All he sees is a bunch of guys in a car get out and go into a convenience store. He puts it together that they are robbing a store. Yeah. And they are robbing the store, but if you saw this, you just think, oh, these guys are just walking in.
Yeah.
He goes up to one guy, threatens him, flashes his gun. Then the guy drives off. Then he walks up to another guy. He takes his gun and puts it in a newspaper, which was a magical newspaper. Yeah. And I'll get to that. But he puts it in the newspaper, walks up to another guy who's just on the phone, beats the shit out of him, and tries to like wrap a phone cord around his throat. Then he walks over. A guy comes out holding a gun to a woman's head. And he gives the funniest speech ever because he's like, hey, white boy.
Okay, white boy. You get to watch. You get to watch me blow her brains up.
Like, and it's like he stumbles and he's like, and splatter all over the ground. And then he pulls the gun out of the newspaper, and it goes from being a .45 when he puts it in, to being a Desert Eagle all of a sudden. So the newspaper is magical. And then he shoots the guy, somehow missing the woman that he's standing behind. And then a guy comes out. And he's like, what happened? What'd you do, Blondie? And then she kicks the guy with the slowest karate ever in the world. And then she's like holding him up against the wall.
Pins him. Like,
and he's like, like that's my favorite scene of the whole movie.
Another thing that sucks about the ROTOR robot, his robot vision is so fucking lame. It's just a negative filter with a crosshair on it.
Plus, he can see the past.
Which is from the Arkham games.
Yeah.
Batman has some bullshit tech in the Arkham games where he can recreate an image, and there's some convoluted reason. Like, at least they give a reason. This one, it's like, oh, ROTOR could just see what happened in the past.
That's why ROTOR's more powerful than the Terminator or Robocop. He can see the past.
Okay, so what's more embarrassing? Ed 209 not being able to conquer stairs, or ROTOR being stopped by car horns.
By car horns?
It seems like a really big fucking flaw.
He's going to be a traffic cop. What does he think is going to happen?
He has a motorcycle. He's going to be on the road, and he can't take road.
I love that scene, too, where he's like trying to get her in the car, and he's like, and he's just reaching in, and she keeps honking the horn, and he's just like...
There's one part where he gets frustrated too. He's like, does one of those.
So he has anger.
And, like, okay, like you wouldn't see the Terminator do that.
Yeah, get angry.
Why didn't they just put other robots' brain into ROTOR? Like, why did they make ROTOR like a Frankenstein thing? The other robot seemed to be able to converse with humans. He knew what was up. He just wasn't very mobile.
Also, one thing I just want to mention is there's a character that they never show but always made me laugh really hard is there's a part where every time they get on the phone and they call the police, they're talking to Detective John Mango, which I don't know why, but why did they choose the name Mango?
I know.
Like, out of all the names you could have had, you have Cold Iron, Steel, and you choose Mango.
I have a question for any of you. What the fuck was the ending of this movie?
Oh,
Cold
okay,
Iron's
so,
body double leaves the police. It's definitely not the actor.
So Cold Iron gets, well, I don't know, should we, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Cold Iron is shot by Bugler, who's the dude he was having to fight with on the phone.
Outside the police station, of all goddamn places.
He runs up in a trench coat with like an elephant gun, and shoots him in the back while he's walking away, and then just goes, "Justice is served." COD.
Cash on delivery. What the fuck?
And then it cuts to
Cold Iron's nephew
who's in college.
who we did not know existed.
Yeah.
They never mentioned.
I do have to say, it's
ROTOR 2.
It's unexpected. They do a lot of unexpected.
Tony,
it's not predictable.
I just realized, if you're directing a Carnosaur sequel, I'm directing ROTOR sequel. That's what's going to
That's our dream job.
I'm going to direct a ROTOR sequel one day.
And then
Giant Claw sequels.
Oh, yeah. Those are going to be our 3
Let's
sequels.
just all... What's your movie, Justin? What do you want to direct? What shitty movie?
I think I'm ready for Mac and Me too.
Mac and Me too. That'd be good.
That could be another topic.
So whoever owns ROTOR, please get to me.
So in the very end of ROTOR, even though the first ROTOR was a complete disaster, they made a new ROTOR where it's just the muscular girl.
Well, that's the thing.
Did she die? What happened
she gets
to her?
killed. So she dies. ROTOR squeezes her to death.
Right.
Well, what's also weird too is Sonya dies too, I think. But like in the beginning of the show, he puts her on the floor and she's like just laying there staring, but she keeps blinking.
Yeah. Oh no, she's not dead. They put her in an ambulance in the scene.
Oh, they did. Okay.
It's in the background. You have to look or else you miss it.
I always got confused with that scene because, and also the one thing that's weird about that whole scene.
Yeah.
Is he says her name wrong a whole bunch of times. He actually calls her Tony, but it's Sony. But
really?
It's supposed to be Sony, like Sonya.
Okay.
But he's like, Tony, put the prime recorder on her.
Oh my god.
We gotta get out of here. It's gonna explode.
They didn't have time for a second take, I guess.
Yeah,
If this review seems like it's all over the place, it's only because the movie is all over the place.
It was ADR.
Yeah.
Huh?
It was ADR.
Yeah.
So why did he?
Well, most
still
movies
said it
are
wrong?
like most movies, especially if it's a big budget movie, they are ADR. But this is just poorly ADR. It's just
best ADR in the whole movie is when he hands her the steaks, and she's like, "How about this? I'll put the steaks in the oven if you run to the thing and get blah blah blah." And he goes,
I reckon you got a bargain.
Sure, we're partners.
I reckon you got a bargain, like that. And it's like, it sounds completely different than every other ADR in the whole movie. It's like, I love this damn movie, and I think if you watch it, you will too.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's not good. It's bad. Watch the Riff Tracks version. That'll get you through it.
Yeah, this isn't even the worst movie that I've ever watched, too.
No, me either, but it's still pretty bad.
Yeah. But this is ROTOR, let me tell you, 2 thumbs up from Kieran.